Nothing more to say. Very superstitious. The devil's on his way. Baby, broke the looking glass. 7 years of bad luck. Good things in your past. Oh, when you believe in things that you don't understand, and you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. When you believe in things that you don't understand and you suffer, superstition is the way.
Okay. Welcome. 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 Welcome, welcome everyone. And I hope you know it's a superstitious type of Halloween. And welcome to CSL Dallas. We are so glad that you made it here today, and we are grateful that you're joining us online. Just as a reminder, we'd like to have you all visit CSLDallas.org for all your inspiring content, information on our upcoming courses, and ways to stay connected to your spiritual family. We have a spooky celebration going on today, and we're going to kick it off. So put your hands together for the CSL Dallas music team.
You need me. you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you in my life. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you in my life. It is God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you in my life. You are important to me. I need you in my life.
So good. Good morning. I needed to see you this morning. JL, hey girl. Hey girl, hey. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Celebration. Again, so grateful that you are here. Whether you are joining us via live stream or in person, it is an honor and a true joy just to see and feel your presence. Would love for you to check in wherever you are. So if that's Facebook, check in. YouTube, wherever on the web sphere, feel free to check in. CSL Dallas is a special place to call your spiritual home. You know what we're going to do right now, right? And we're going to say, we are radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, all transforming lives. Yes, hey, somebody say amen, Ashe. Yeah, we can get this energy going. There we go. We have so many great things, so much good to share with you today. First, coming up, Practical Mysticism is a new course that's coming, so you want to have this on your calendar. It starts on November 4th and is led by two of our amazing licensed practitioners, Faye Abdul Salam and Carol Merlot. So give them some snaps for holding space for us in this class. There we go. There's a few things I want you to think about when you think about practical mysticism. Unification of spirit, deep meditation, and building your personal altar. Doesn't that sound amazing? Yes? All right, so make sure that you sign up for this course. Also, some more good, Dr. Petra. She is back, y'all. She is back on Wednesday nights. So yes, give her some snaps as well. We're excited for this. And she's going to be holding space for our meditation and metaphysics course, and it's on campus only. So I think maybe soon we'll figure out how to do online. But for right now,
It's in person only.
in person only. Well, you got to be here. You got to be here for this course, okay? And again, it's every Wednesday night from 7 to 8:30. All right, so for my people online, we hope that you remember that we have not forgotten about you. We are grateful for your presence. We want to hold this space and time to invite you to contribute to our continuous expansion of this community. So you can text by giving. You can also give through YouTube. You can give through the website. And here's the number to text, 972-954-4404. I'm going to say that one more time because the people in the sanctuary, you can also give by texting later, 972-954-4404. Okay? Now let's give back to our musical team for When I Forget.
to that place within that is one within spirit. That place where we remember that we are that expression of spirit. We are that love of spirit. We are that peace of spirit. We are that divine intelligence of spirit, expressing in the most creative and beautiful ways. And it's from that place that we paint the pictures of our lives, grounded in that knowing, in that truth, in that belief of that absolute truth. And so as we come together today, we come together in expressing ourselves from that place that is perfect, from that place that is grounded. And we express it out into the world and to each other and affirm that by saying, and so it is.
When you forget, I will remember for you. When you forget, I will remember for you. I will see what you can't see. When you forget, I will remember. When you forget, I will remember. When you forget.
Good job. Thank you.
Yay, music team. Good morning. Cindy and I are back to talk to you again about our AIS 2022 campaign, Painting a New Picture, where we're reimagining and reconnecting in a post-pandemic world for 2022. How are we going to show up? How are we going to paint that new picture that drives change, that drives transformation, that drives success and prosperity for our center? One of the activities that we've had during this campaign this year, and this is our 4th week, next week we'll celebrate out our success and our achievement for the campaign. But one of the activities that we had a couple of weeks ago was to actually paint a new picture together as a community. So I'd like to invite Carl Thomas up to reveal that painting to us and show everyone what our collective consciousness can create.
White mic.
White mic, please. White mic. Okay. Okay. No mic. Well, we'll just do it this way. This is interesting because...
Hold it up. Hold it up.
Hold it up.
It's on. Just talk.
Okay, I'm going to talk.
Just talk.
I'm going to talk. Y'all listen. So last week, or a few weeks ago, several of us came together, some of us physically, and we had the opportunity to pour. Some of us through our energy, like the practitioners were practicing, and their energy comes into this. It was interesting to watch because some of you are streamers. I mean, you like to get it all in there. Some of you had your favorite color. Some of you were looking to see what colors are missing. But the truth is, in the end, not even I or you know what will be the results when you pour. So there's your painting as a community. Beautiful, Carl. And, no tricks, just a great treat. Thank you. Yeah, for Halloween. Yeah, normally he would do a trick up here, so, somehow we got past that. Go ahead.
So there's no limits to what we can create as we paint a new picture. As you can see, this is just an absolutely stunning accomplishment that we've painted here. And to accomplish our priorities next year and to provide all the things you love this community, we need your pledge. And, if you haven't been able to come into the sanctuary, I really want to encourage you to go online and do your pledge, because one of the things we've been able to do post-pandemic is really expand our offerings into, the different ways to come online. And we're going to, and one of our priorities this year is actually to continue to expand that. So if you're spiritually fed through this organization and through our offerings, please, please, please do fill out your pledge. This is the last week, and we create our annual budget based on the pledges that you commit to. And we don't spend more than we actually get commitments for. And last year, we actually had to reduce some of the offerings because we didn't meet our goals in pledge. And I'm holding that container of knowing that we're going to meet that today, because everybody in this community is contributing to make sure that we're able to offer everything that we intend to offer this year.
Right, and Cindy, we only do this once a year. We don't fundraise all year long. We're not always having bake sales and all that kind of stuff to bring more money into the community. We have an annual pledge drive, and we commit to our prosperity. We commit to our prosperity as an individual, and we commit to our prosperity as a community. And that collective abundance is what flows through our community from within to without, and it allows us to share and tithe to other organizations that are making a change for the better in the world. So we really need all the support that we can get at this particular time so that we can go into 2022 with confidence and standing on a good prosperity consciousness. So one of the things that I like to say is that if you are new to our community, our annual pledge drive is new to you, obviously, so there's no pressure or obligation to to make that pledge, but we invite you to do so if you are new and want to join us in our collective prosperity for 2022.
All right. I need you to move over because they say they can't hear me.
Okay.
I want to make sure they can hear me. It's really important.
It's important.
Each week, we've been revealing our priorities for 2022, and our final priority for 2022 is TSRW. This stuff really works. I know, but, you know, I'm trying to be family friendly here.
We'll get the bleep on YouTube. This shit really works.
So testimonials on this, just like you've heard throughout this campaign, that demonstrates that lives that work and inspire others, that we're going to collect and share stories from our community through written or video testimonials. And for social media, the website, emails, and everywhere, your story makes the difference in someone else's lives. I can't tell you how many stories I hear just as a practitioner and just being part of this community of how this stuff really works in your lives, and all that we teach here, all the spiritual practices really grounds and transforms lives, which is what our goal is. So very excited about that. So with that, we want to share a video from one of our own AIS committee members and community member, Tariq. And so let's roll that video.
Good morning, CSL Dallas. My name is Tariq Rogers, and I give this testimonial as a thank you for all that CSL Dallas has meant to me as a central component of my spiritual and personal development that has spilled over in so many other ways in physical, professional, relationship developments too. Yes, there are amazing TSRW, this stuff really works moments to speak to in so many facets of my last 3+ years here at CSL Dallas. But the why of those TSRW moments is what is really important. The key to me was gaining an abundance mindset and a prosperity mindset. And hold on, it's great listening to the services and teachings of the classes to gain that mindset, but truly living in faith and practicing the abundance and prosperity mindset is where it's at. The most impactful practice to get me started was my weekly auto tithing. What a pause moment I am able to live in weekly, where I can sit in the gratitude of being able to live in full circulation of spirit at that moment in the form of money spirit that is transformed into life-changing teaching moments for so many beyond just myself. I feel honored to live in this circulation and know I am connected to each one of you beautiful beings when I give. And for that, I get to pause and say, thank you, Spirit, for creating the vacuum that can be filled with so much more love, life, creativity, joy, intelligence, wisdom, beauty. I am sure that there are so many ways each of us are called to live in circulation, but I can think of no better way than a weekly act of my weekly tithing. A few years ago, I stretched myself to live in circulation as a sense of obligation to pay for the good word I was receiving. Then over the last couple years, I decided I wanted to test my faith even more. So I began to tithe. And then last year, I upped my tithing even another 20%. And I upped my financial donations to so many other charities. And I dedicated myself to more service activities. I received lots of tangible blessings over these years, but the circulation of life, love, peace, connection, and true joy is really where I know TSRW. I love being a part of the circulation connection afforded to me with the most basic practice of tithing. And I thank CSL Dallas for being a source of that teaching and a conduit of action. I should end right there, but I want to give a special plug for the Prosperity Plus classes, a free class here at CSL Dallas, but putting the practices and commitments to faithful action is where it's at. I thank you for your time.
You can see why he brings it every day. And, you know, what I was reminded of during his talk was that CSL Dallas isn't just a Sunday 10:30 a.m. show. We're every day of the week, you know, bringing the practices to the community and giving everyone an opportunity to practice their science of mind. I get so much out of the classes that we offer, and not only to better myself and grow spiritually and within, but to connect with others and to realize a better me because I'm connecting with other folks in our community. And those classes led by our beautiful co-ministers or our practitioners are so powerful for me. And almost every class that I take here, and I'm gonna say not almost, every class that I take here, I'm having a TSRW at some level. You know, whether it's a greater understanding of myself, a manifestation of something I've been dreaming about, or figuring out a way to let all the old garbage and baggage kind of be released out of my life. I get that out of these classes, and you know, the TSRWs have been numerous, whether it's a new job or a new home or a new relationship. The groundwork was done in class and in the you know, in the interaction with others, the praying, the treating, and then, you know, creating that canvas for my life that I can paint on. And sometimes it's painting outside the lines, and it's more expansive and infinitely more powerful than what I thought at the beginning. It just continues to grow and expand in so many ways because I'm connected to this community. And Cindy has a few words to say.
Thank you, Daniel. As I was preparing for this week, I was thinking about, I love the topic TSRW, and, there's so many, just deciding which one to share with you is always the challenge. But last week, the practitioners had their annual retreat, and Michael Gott, as many of you may know, who used to be the music director here as well as a practitioner, led that. And it just reminded me of when I first joined CSL Dallas. I went to a retreat called Asilomar that was sponsored at the higher level of the organization, and Michael Gott did a workshop there. It was several days, and it was very transforming for me in early days. And there was so many different spiritual practices that I was introduced to during that experience, whether it was journaling and meditation, visualization, visioning, all the things that we teach here was part of that several-day workshop. And just to give you a brief summary of it, the first thing that we did was we identified the limiting belief. My limiting belief was that children should be seen, not heard. Has anyone ever heard that when they were growing up? Right? Yeah, I was very, very scared to speak in public, and here I am, right? The other thing was that we had to visualize what is it we wanted to experience. So, and then we actually did some creative, drawing. So I drew a picture of a house on the water. I drew a picture of me, for some reason, speaking invocation at a CSL event. Okay, well, I didn't even know I was going to be a practitioner then. So those things have already come to pass for me. So here I am. And the intention I set at the end of that series was to be seen and to be heard. To be seen and to be heard. It was something that I had never experienced in my life. And here I am, being seen, being heard, sharing this with everybody in this room, sharing it with everybody on, out there on the camera, out in the world, and also just not even just here in my job. I speak to executives in my company. I can never even imagine when I walked in the door that I could even do that. But that is how we can paint a new picture of in our lives, how we can change our experience. It is just an amazing thing that we do here, and that is why I pledge, that is why I give of my time, that is why I am a practitioner here, is that which has transformed my lives I want to share with others. So I'd like to invite Daniel back up here.
Thank you, Cindy. All right, so this is the final stretch of our campaign. We put Celebration Sunday off a week, but it's not too late. Every pledge matters, no matter the amount. If you're online and would like to pledge today, please go to csl.org/pledge and make your pledge for your commitment to your prosperity for 2022. If you auto-tithe, please re-up by just filling out a pledge card with the regular amount that you already auto-tithe. If you'd like to increase that, that's certainly welcome, or make any changes that you need to. But please just go ahead and fill out a pledge card so that we can count your auto-tithing in our numbers for Celebration Sunday. And if you're not able to be here in person, there's no reason to not pledge. Even if during the year you're not coming as much because of the pandemic, et cetera, still give us that pledge so that we can count your totals for Celebration Sunday.
All right. And if you have recently mailed your pledge or want to mail it, you can drop an email to our accounting coordinator, Stefan, which is Stefan, STEPHAN, at CSLDallas.org, and let him know what you pledged so we can make sure it's counted, because we really want to make sure we have an accurate reflection of everything that people are signing up for. Or if you want to email Stefan or contact one of the AIS committee members with the details of your pledge, one of us can fill the card out for you. At this point in time, if you were to drop it in the mail, we wouldn't get it in time to be able to count it. So, it's okay if you want to mail it, but please do make sure that you let us know so we can count it. Now's the time to get your pledge in. Operators are standing by.
So with that, let's reaffirm as a community our goals for 2022, painting a new picture. The number of pledgers that we would like to have are 198 pledgers and more. Let's say it again. 198 pledgers and more.
All right, let's talk about the cumulative dollar amount of those pledges. Our goal is $895,000 and more. Let's say that one more time. $895,000 and more. Really, together we rise and paint a new picture like never before. Thank you, everyone, for all of your pledges and your support. Oh, wait. Here's a pledge card, in case you haven't seen one. We have a table outside.
So this song is called Taming My Inner Critic by Karen Drucker, and sometimes before we have a big growth spurt or before we are willing to take a leap, we have to clear the palate by taming our inner critic. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. She wants to take me down with all of her might. She snarls, she growls, but I am ready to put up a fight. I've been in therapy for 100 years, and there's a peace that I finally found. I've let go of so many fears, and she is not gonna push me around. I'm taming my inner critic. You're not welcome here anymore. I'm taming my inner critic. Allow me to kick you out the door. She kvetches, she complains. Her demands make me feel so insane. Every detail of my life is analyzed and sliced up with her knife. But I am woman, just watch me roar with a force that she can't ignore. Every positive word I say gives me the power to chase her away. I'm taming my inner critic. You're not gonna win at this feel ashamed. I'm taming my inner critic. This time I win and you lose. I'm taming my inner critic. You know the truth. You are like so yesterday's news. But then she says, don't give any money. You're gonna need it later. And I say there is more than enough. She says, don't dress like that. You're too old. And I say I am beautiful. And then she says you really should just play it safe. You're not that talented. And I say I am worthy. Say get off, get back. It's now. It's time to claim this life as mine. I'm taking my inner critic. You have no power over me. I'm taming my inner critic, knowing my worth has finally set me free. So back off.
Hey, tame that inner critic. Yes.
Laney and Kirby, Jonathan, Matt, and Brad. It's truly one of my favorite Karen Drucker songs. I love it so much.
Yay. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Guess what today is? Ask us anything. Okay, so I just want to say to the folks online, I'm working 2 devices behind the scenes, but we're live. Petra has YouTube on her device. I have Facebook on my device, so if you're on either one of those streams, you can put questions in the chat, and we're going to answer them, or at least do our best to get to as many questions as we can. So, and of course, in the room. So we got a mic in the room, and I've already got a couple of questions that people have already sent to us, so we'll start with that. But be thinking here on campus and then online, what questions do you have? We primarily would love to answer them about anything to do with abundance and prosperity, but it can be anything spiritual, you know? There may be some questions we wouldn't answer, but anything spiritual, we would. Right?
Really? There's a question we wouldn't answer?
Well, anyway, let's don't test them.
Well,
Anyway,
feel free to test us.
feel free to test us. Okay, so I got a couple of questions that came in, and that is, let's start with this one. Please explain limiting beliefs. Travis wants to know that from Dallas, or Tavis. But anyway, Tavis, we're got you going. Please explain limiting beliefs. Why don't you take that one?
All right. Well, our song was beautifully setting us up to have a conversation about limiting beliefs, right? Our limiting beliefs are the false ideas that we have about ourselves. They usually start with things we're told as a child, and then they are also ways in which we interpret what happened to us as a child, which we then codify in our minds about life and about ourselves. So let's say we get invited to play in a softball game, and maybe we're not quite old enough yet, or we're not very good at it yet because we haven't had a lot of practice, and we don't do well, and maybe some of the kids laugh at us. And so we can easily create a belief, don't try anything new, it's dangerous, or I'm not very good at sports, or I don't like to play group games because people aren't very nice. Do you see, there's no just one-size-fits-all limiting belief. It's however we interpret that. And then when that gets added to things we might be told by family members, by kids at school, that can also be very damaging, by society, even, all the messages we get as young people, girls about their weight, boys about how they're supposed to look and behave, all those kinds of messages. And these beliefs keep us from expressing all of ourselves. That's why they're called limiting beliefs, because they make us smaller and they keep us from trying things, they keep us from expressing ourselves, and they keep us from really experiencing our own inner beauty and magnificence. And none of us are the same as anybody else, right? We're all unique and different. You know there's no such thing as normal, right? We've given up that long ago, I hope. But we don't feel good about our unique set of ways of showing up in the world. And so then we try to conform and fit in. And so those limiting beliefs live in our subconscious mind. And if you're studying neuroscience or neuroplasticity, if you do affirmations, all of that's designed to write over those old beliefs, write new ones.
Yay.
Yay.
And the
That's worth
universal
doing.
presence and life itself is limitless. So very good. Thank you. That was good. All right, let's see. We have another one.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so,
Put
so
your
go
raise your
ahead.
hand.
Raise your hand, and then I'll tell you when we're ready, okay? Go ahead and hand her the mic, please. Okay. All right, we're ready.
So go ahead and share.
Petra, how do you find those limiting beliefs?
Oh man, that is a great question. That's a great question, Sharon. Okay.
I would start with begin to watch our language and have, I like language buddies. Have people start listening to my language, and then like I have a language buddy right here. And so she will point out, like, really? You really believe that? Whatever. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. Begin to watch how I'm saying things and talking about things. Okay?
Yeah, and you know, it's things like always and never, and this always happens to me, and you know, and ask yourself, is that really something you want to keep affirming? And if it's not, you've found a limiting belief, right? And or you can ask yourself, do I really want my life to be based on this thought? That's a limiting belief. And then you can go to Byron Katie. Is it true? Is it really, really true? And that means we're jumping from our human experience to the things we know to be spiritually true. And if we pretend or we entertain the possibility that we are, in fact, spiritual beings, then we can ask ourselves, would this be true of a spiritual being? This thought that I have, this way of speaking? And so it really, and it's so what comes out of your mouth, but it's also what's going on up here, which is why the practices of mindfulness are so important, right? Because we start listening to what we're saying, and then we can inquire, is it true? Is it really, really true? Is this really what I want to base my life on? Is this really how I want my life to feel? These are all really great ways to explore our limiting beliefs. Thanks, great question.
Yeah, great question. In just a minute, let me do another question, and then we'll get a mic to you as well. And so here's another one that came in. What does abundance mean from a spiritual perspective? Thank you, Charlotte from Houston. What does abundance mean from a spiritual perspective? Well, I'll start with that, and that is if we look at life itself and how it expresses, you know, this one life, this divine oceanic substance, as I like to call it, this universal presence, spirit God, whatever you choose to call it. There is no beginning to it, there is no ending to it, there is no circumference, meaning there's no edge, there's no boundary. It's like boundless, right? And it shows up in pure abundance. If we look at on this one particular planet, in this particular Milky Way solar system, look how it all shows up. The grains of sand on a beach, we can't count it. The stars in the sky, we still can't count. Everything is always in its abundance. The water on the planet, all of this. And that is how life works. That's how life shows up. And it unabashedly gives to itself so fully and freely. It doesn't hold back. And because there's only one thing showing up, it also is receiving unabashedly. I think sometimes we forget that. It's the law of giving and receiving. So from a spiritual perspective, life itself, by its design, is the best expression of abundance there is. And that's the life because we are that. I mean, look, we're made up of, the majority of us is water. And that's why I use water a lot. It's like, I'm water, the ocean's water, everything's water. Turn on a faucet, it comes out. I expect the water to come out. Life itself shows up in its abundance. And that's truly it from a spiritual perspective. I think we try to put the human side only on abundance when it's purely spiritual to begin with.
Yeah, and I would add to that the abundance from a spiritual point of view is our ability to express our truth and our nature and our essential reality. I think it has to do with freedom and contribution and fulfillment. And it goes right along with the other side of limiting beliefs, right? When we are continually unhooking our limiting beliefs and we begin to imagine and experience the universal abundance, then that starts showing up as our ability to contribute our gift, our talents, our life by expressing who we are. Because, we're here for a reason and a purpose, and that is to be us and to express life and to give that unique, I don't always want to say talent like artistic talent or, even like you're good with numbers, but literally, quite frankly, your presence, your care, your compassion, your engagement, your desire to further life in some form or fashion, whether for you, your family, your tribe, your country, your business, all the ways in which we want to contribute to life and make a difference. And from a spiritual point of view, it is the abundance of the universe that allows us to do that. When we're not tapped into the abundance of the universe, we don't think we can. We don't have enough. We don't have enough time, enough talent, enough money, enough whatever it is, enough feeling about our self-worth and what our gifts might be, and so we don't. We don't do it, and as Karen said, right, then we're seeking constantly to get. And ultimately, from a spiritual point of view, abundance is the circulation of giving and receiving. But it starts with that gift of ourselves. And so the last thing I would say is when Karen says it unabashedly gives to itself, it's kind of a tricky thing to remember that this does not include us, right? So when Karen says it unabashedly gives to itself, what it means is it gives itself into all of creation. Science of Mind says love is Spirit's self-givingness of itself into creation. It pours itself into all of creation. That's every physical thing, and that's also you and me and all beings. So it's not like giving it to itself in some inwardly turned way. Giving to itself means it's giving to all of us all of the time. And then our job is to pass it along.
Great. I think we have one up here,
Okay.
Daniel.
We have
one
a
up
couple
here.
here.
Yep. And
So-
I got one online that I want to use that came in from Neil. Okay.
Great. And so I just want to say, I'm not getting any comments on YouTube. So for those of you on YouTube, I don't know whether you need to subscribe or whether you need to sign in to make a comment. But I'll keep looking for a comment or a question on YouTube.
Okay, we have someone here in the sanctuary, and we are ready.
So yes, about answering the question of how do you know when you don't, when you have negative beliefs through your life, what you attract and what you have. For instance, me, it seems like everybody has the right to have what they want, but not me. Mm-hmm. And finally, I made a commitment to see where that came from, how that, and I'm seeing a therapist about it.
Good.
Because for me, for the longest time, I've known all this since the 80s. And it could, well, first of all, language barrier. And second of all, because I could not get it. I think the language had a lot to do, and the way I was brought up.
Yes.
So the affirmation did not work. And each time I says, I'm going to go to therapy, people, even here, says, it's going to take forever. And it dawned on me, I says, I'm worth the time.
Yes.
And it was a big aha.
Yes.
Even though I'm angry at myself, don't get me wrong, even though I need to be kind to me. And people used to say, why are you so hard on yourself? And I did not never understood. I grew up in boarding school, French people, they can be really rough.
Right.
So it's not only the belief, but even your life, the way it is right now.
Yes.
That is how you can tell, and then be committed to find out really where that came from and how much you're still using it.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, absolutely. Therapy is fabulous work. And so no matter how long it takes, it is utterly worth doing. And then we make the spiritual shift to see it from a different point of view. That's what really rewrites those negative patterns. And so thank you so much for sharing that. I thought we had another one here.
I'm going
sorry.
to do one online,
Great.
and then we're going to go right
Perfect.
there. So Neil Hanner. Hey, Neil. Shout
Hi,
out.
Neil.
We love that you watch us all the time. What is the fine line between expressing abundance and prosperity and participating in consumerism and materialism? It's a great question. Yes, we got a yes. All right, you can start. I'll
Okay,
fill in.
So,
I'm working the device here.
okay, I'm trying.
I know,
I'm trying to
you're
work my
doing great.
device.
You're doing great.
Yeah, how do you know the difference? Well, it's very simple. Are you living from the inside out, or are you living from the outside in? It's very simple, right? So if we think that our abundance is going to make us happy, we are participating in consumerism. If we understand that our abundance is a way in which we express who we are, what's important to us, what we value, allows us to contribute to our own lives, the lives of our family, the lives of in our community and businesses and things like that. When we recognize that, then we are living from the inside out. And, you know, we live in a world and have, since humanity, you know, lived in the caves and made pots and rugs all the way up to today, we need stuff in our lives to support our lives. And so we recognize that the kind of abundance that we like is the kind of abundance that allows us to express as opposed to get something to make us happy. So for me, I'll give you an example. When I was 8 or 9, I started drawing my own house. I started, you know, creating my own house and what it might look like. And I decided at one point, my favorite house, I still remember exactly what it looks like. And I mean a floor plan. Every room had an entirely different flavor. And I remember spending a lot of time on that. And as I got older, I noticed how passionate I was about the beauty of art and how much art and beauty helped me bring nature into my own home. And so in my teen years, I said, you know, someday I'm going to have a home where virtually everything in it is handmade. It's a craft, it's an art, it comes from people I know, it comes from people around the world. And I recognized that that was my way of expressing beauty and my way of being a philanthropist and a patron of the arts. Because I think art is one of the ways in which we bring spirit present in a form that illuminates and changes consciousness. And so, yeah, when I bought my condo, and then Karen and I got together and we moved in together, if you walk around our house now, it's every piece of tchotchke in the house, right? Every piece of thing that's hanging on the wall, every one of them is a piece of art, a piece of craft. It's been purchased either here or around the world. And I see it as a reflection, first of all, of my spirit and a reflection of our spirit. And it gives me refuge and sanctuary. And it reminds me of the beauty that is the transcendent mystery that is forever seeking to be birthed in the world. That I want to birth in the world. That I want to be in the world. That if I could, I would open my heart and I would open yours and I would transfer that beauty into you. Because I see it in you, and I know it's true about you, and I want you to see it in yourself. And so the beauty in my home reminds me of that. especially when I'm feeling negative or limited, or I question myself or my abilities, or am I really doing it right? Or, oh my gosh, did we get through the pandemic in a good way? And, and all the ways in which we question ourselves. And so my home with that commitment reminds me of something so that I can come out into the world and give more. Do you see? Which is very different than collecting art and having somebody come into my home and say, oh yes, and this was worth this much money, and oh, and look at that, aren't I cool because I have that? Oh, and then having to acquire things so that I can say, oh, I have art, I'm so cool. Do you see the difference? That's how you know.
Great. All right. We got one right here in the sanctuary. We have time for a couple more.
Okay, awesome. I am very curious, as partners, as caretakers of this community, you have a lot going on. So I'm curious what your daily practice or spiritual practice looks like. How do you fill your cup to stay grounded? What does that practice look like for you daily?
Well, I'll start. Before I even get out of bed now, I start my practice. I actually intentionally now stay still, and I start being grateful and thinking about what I want this day to be. I don't really jump out of bed as fast as I did anymore, and I don't grab a device as fast as I did anymore, just so you know. That's been intentional over the past few months. And the other thing that's really become my spiritual practice is my photography. And being in nature and learning patience and feeling the presence, seeing the grass to the trees to the birds, because that's primarily what's in DFW are birds. So during the pandemic, I started finding myself out there to stay grounded during this time. And that's become my spiritual practice. The last thing I will say is the one that I use most frequently and most often is spiritual mind treatment. That's the one technology that is unique that Ernest Holmes brought to humanity. And once I learned that, I've been using it for myself. I've been using it for every person that I know and I love. I use it for every person that I know and I love. And every time I get to do a spiritual mind treatment, the great news is it may be for you, but it's actually for me as well. And that unfolds in our pictures. So those are my consistent spiritual practices that I do. Peter, you want to share?
Sure, absolutely. So I did years and years and years of meditation. Years and years and years of meditation. Until I discovered that I couldn't tell the difference between the time I was meditating and the time I wasn't. And that's my goal. My spiritual practice is to be in that centered, grounded state in the world. Because I remember when I first started meditating, well, first of all, it was really hard. And I was like, okay, I'm sitting on this cushion. Great, now what? And everybody's having these fabulous visions and flights of fancy, and they were, being all blissed out. And I was like, okay, I'm sitting on the cushion. That took a really long time. But I kept at it because I knew it was important. And then what I noticed is that I would start really feeling centered on my meditation cushion, and then I would get in my car, and I would get on the road, and I would get in traffic. And do you know how quickly I would get mad because all those people were ruining my bliss? You already got it, right? And so after many, many, many years of deep, profound commitment to meditation, I decided that as I could no longer tell the difference, I didn't get mad anymore, I didn't have those experiences, that my spiritual practice today is to be as conscious as I can, to be as awake as I can, to notice when my limiting beliefs are getting in the way, to notice when I am feeling petty or small or frightened or victimized, and each and every time to come back to my center. My ongoing spiritual practice is to breathe. The centering breath is the single anchor in my life, and I use it all the time. I also do a lot of spiritual mind treatment as I'm going to bed. I do my spiritual mind treatment for the people who are on my treatment list. I do my spiritual mind treatment for the planet, for social justice, for economic equity, for all of the support that I can give to the awakening of humanity. I try to go to sleep doing that so that I'll wake up doing it, which, unless I'm woken up by a crying grandchild, I'm usually doing. And I'm programming my mind to think about that all night. So if I wake up in the middle of the night, I find myself doing affirmations. I find myself doing the first 2 steps of treatment. Actually, I've done the treatment so much that now when my brain goes on idle and I'm not paying attention to what it's doing at a stop sign or in a grocery store, it immediately starts a spiritual mind treatment for me. And I count on that to keep me centered. So when we have meditations on Wednesday night, when we have centering we center every meeting that we do, we have meditations and centering in everything that we do here at CSLDallas. I have 3 prayer partners. I had a Sangha for a long time, but my schedule was so erratic. It was really, really hard. And I finally had to step out of the Sangha, which was very, very difficult for me. So I'm praying and in meditation with my prayer partners 3 times a week. Karen and I do prayer together, spiritual mind treatment together. And so it's now a lifestyle. And that's where we're going, right? So that our spiritual practice isn't something we just do on the meditation cushion. And it isn't something that we do in time set aside. That's where we start. That's how we learn. That's how we build it. But ultimately, it has to come into our lives. And every moment of our life to the very best of our ability. Do I do it all the time? Of course not. I have not yet turned pink and transcended. When you start seeing the pink, you'll know. You'll know I'm doing it just about all the time. And so that's why it's called a practice.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question.
Great question. All right. Well, I'm going to do one last one very quickly.
I have a question. I have a question on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yay, I'm so excited. Can I read it out? Okay, this is from Jeff. What spiritual practices can help us overcome disappointment? Oh, that's a great question. Very good. Okay. I'm going to just say something really short here, okay? I know. A friend of mine and I, we had this conversation, actually one of my prayer partners, about 5 years ago. And because we had this conversation. Disappointment is one of the steps along the road to spiritual maturity. Disappointment, the spiritual practice of disappointment is an opportunity to examine our attachments, to examine our judgments, to examine our need for things to be the way they are, to examine our desperate desire for the form to be the way it is, and to examine our ability to unconditionally love. The other spiritual practice is to feel the disappointment. Just to look at it, feel it. It's okay to be disappointed. Really, it is. It's okay to be disappointed that you didn't have the ideal family, that your mother wasn't the ideal mother, that the job wasn't what you thought it was going to be. Even that you didn't show up. I get so disappointed with myself when I'm petty. It's my least favorite way of behaving in the entire world. And so to feel the feeling, to allow it to arise, to allow it to flow, and not to own it like that's now my personhood, or that this is now the way life is. To allow it to come and to go and to be with it, and then to see what's there. Sometimes I have to change my perspective. Sometimes I have to talk to somebody. A lot of times it's a little bit of both, right? And so the spiritual practice is not to avoid the disappointment, not to squish the disappointment, not to throw the disappointment in anybody else's face, right? But to just,
reject it.
Right? Be with it, feel it, let it come up, examine what's there to examine, And then ask ourselves, for me, my question is always, what is my spiritual ground to stand in this moment of disappointment? What's the spiritual truth here? This isn't the end of the world. There's something always new in spirit. We'll move through this. There's something I'm not seeing. This person is a child of God just as much as me, and who am I to judge that I'm disappointed? Do you see? I'm finding that spiritual ground upon which to stand so that my disappointment can come and go, but doesn't become some sort of a reality.
Great. Very good.
Thank you for the comment on YouTube, for the question on YouTube.
All right, we have other questions, so what I commit to is the ones who didn't get answered that came in from Facebook, like Teresa and Dallas and things like that. I will answer those online throughout the week on our Facebook page for CSL Dallas. Well, I'll make sure I get the answers and we'll post them. Yes, you'll do that.
Play.
Yes,
we'll both play.
Yeah. All right. So
Good.
thank you. We'll continue to do this at another time, but we'd love for y'all to be able to ask us anything, and we will keep doing that. So we're going to move into this time and space where I'm going to ask Brad to play a little music and ask Chantel to come on up. And in the meantime, just let's go within to that infinite field of that which is the divine oceanic substance, the thing itself. This one life, this one power, this one presence. This is a life of creativity, of abundance, of beauty. I'm hearing Tariq's voice. Of peace and harmony and boundless love. And as this one life shows up as this, it shows up as each of us. We are the one within the one of the one life. And so I speak the word for each of us and absolutely know that life continues to pour out its blessing into our own lives, into our individualized expression, through connections, great relationships, work that brings us joy, things that we get to give and be and do in our refirement. If we released our positions already in our life, in our families, in our friendships, in our finances, for it's all an expression of this one life. And so we open up to receive the good of our life. And as we do, we continue to pour out a blessing everywhere we go. In our affirmative prayer work, in our smiles, people across the aisles, on the streets, in the stores, in the restaurants. We pour out our love, whether anyone knows it or not, for we are the blessing of life itself. And I'm so grateful to know this. And so it is.
Hello again, it's me. Y'all glad to see me? Yes? All right. Thank you so much, Reverend Karen. Thank you again, Dr. Petra. And thank you to this community. Every time I come, I feel so full, so very full. So I have to thank this community for giving so much of itself to me and to us. Now we have an opportunity for you to also participate in continuous expansion of this community. So we have these lovely people here with some baskets for you to contribute to that expansion with your offering. And if you're still watching online, hopefully you are, you can also give by texting 972-954-4404 on our website, CSLDallas.org. Also, there's a donation button on Facebook and YouTube. All right, so I have to do this. We have an upcoming class that I'm really excited about, and it is led by Dr. Petra. You may not know this song, but here's the theme, and I'm no singer, so don't judge me. But it's called Living My Best Life, and it goes like this. I'm living my best life. Hey, I'm living my best life. Y'all know that song? Yeah. No? Well, if you don't know it, I see nods. You have to learn it so that you can participate in it with me next time. But Dr. Petra, she is hosting a class called Spiritual Principles and Practices. So talking about practices, this is the perfect opportunity to participate in this. It's a 5-week online course, and it will teach you how to actually live your best life, which takes practice, practice, practice. So when you see this course and when you participate, I want you to remember and sing, I'm living my best life, right? Yes? Can I get a yes? Yes, all right. We have some more good news to share. When you leave here, there's some amazing art across the breezeway in Pankey Hall. So go and see this amazing art. This was created by Bill and George Holloman. So again, thank you for your expression to this community. It was donated to this community. The gifts and proceeds from participating in this is also donated to us. And there's beautiful artwork all around our community as well. Another good thing to share, we have a new beautiful space in our peace room. So we would love for you to participate in that. Affirmative prayer is also coming up, so hang around for that. See our spiritual coaches over there by the glass window. Across the way. New peace room. Affirmative prayer is over there, all right? And of course, haven't forgot about you online. You can join getting affirmative prayer with our coaches. Just type in the chat and we'll make sure that you get connected. And now, I don't want to leave you, but I think it's time. So I'm going to transfer this over to our team here to celebrate I Release.
I release.